I haven't talked enough about breathwork here on this channel, and as I practice it quite frequently, and I just came back from my first 2-hour breathwork session, I just need to talk about it more right here. And in this video I want to talk about breathwork, especially those longer sessions, as a powerful tool for psychedelic preparation and for psychedelic integration. Hey, I'm Vego and this is Psychedelic Actualization. On this channel we talk about topics like self-realization, self-actualization and working with psychedelics to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. So, with psychedelic work it's interesting because we get to know ourselves, right? We do this self-discovery and healing work. But for that it requires an external substance to enter into this state. What's so fascinating about the breath is that it's always with us from the beginning of our life until the very end of our life. This thing called the breath is always with us at all times. Even in out-of-body experiences, DMT-like spaces, there seems to be a breath happening at times, right? It's fascinating. And that is so wonderful. And besides all the other beautiful techniques like meditation and yoga and dancing and shaking and whatever else you might include in those transformative practices, I found breathwork to be one of my favorite. To really get in touch with myself. Because when we think about it, what is psychedelic preparation and what is psychedelic integration, right? For myself personally, one of the parts of psychedelic preparation and integration is to raise my level of awareness about my situation, about my way of being, about who I am in this moment, right? To think about, for example, with the preparation, what's present for me in my life at the moment? What are the topics that are kind of surfacing or maybe a little bit under the surface that I'm not really even aware of because I'm too distracted in the outside world? What are the things that I might want to confront in order to grow and learn more about myself and my way of being in the world? And the same goes kind of for integration as well, right? When we've had a psychedelic experience, we come back to our ordinary state of consciousness, maybe feel a little bit of that loss from the heightened state or blissful state that we tend to cling on to, and we're back. And with the breath work, we can tap into an expanded state of consciousness quite naturally. With a little bit of work. That's why it's called breath work, right? Naturally expand our state of awareness and maybe connect ever so slightly again to these insights or feelings that we have had access to and worked through in our psychedelic journeys. And it is kind of a continuous process, but breath work is one of the most beautiful ways I've found to really get in touch with myself. So basically the message of this video is try it out if you haven't already. If you have already tried it out, do it more consistently, right? And if you already do it consistently, then good job. I don't know. It's like fantastic work, right? Because it's quite joyful to take time out of your schedule to be fully with yourself and breathe. I found for myself that the most effective way for me to actually hold myself accountable to do it is to do it with a group. Because doing such a long breathing session, and I'm talking, there are kind of different ways on how to approach it, like with the holotropic breathwork, which Groff talks a lot about, with like longer 2, 3.5 hour sessions of breathing. Or more like what's common in my area is conscious connected breath work, which is kind of this continuous breathing process through the mouth of like and they're all kind of similar. I guess the pranayama and some yogic techniques are a little bit different, But what I'm talking about here is more like this conscious connected breathwork of like a time period of 45 minutes minimum to longer sessions as well, to really get a little bit deeper. And what I was saying is the way I hold myself accountable is to sign up for a group, right? To actually pay and do it in a group setting with a facilitator there who's organizing the music, who's there for the people, and just have a sharing circle and do it with people together. Because my sneaky mind is like working in a way where I could just do it at home. I feel comfortable to go into deep emotional processes alone at home. But with the breath work, it's, as I said, it's work. I really got to take time out of my schedule to do it. And I've noticed that I'm not doing it, right? To take this time for myself to breathe consciously and maybe a little bit more intense for like 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours, as it's quite a bit of time and it's quite a bit of work. So I noticed some resistance there to do it myself. So one effective way I've found is to join groups, even if it costs a little bit. You can meet beautiful people there as well, right? It's a wonderful way to connect to beautiful, beautiful people. I found great friends in those circles, lovely people in those breathwork circles. So highly recommend that. Another way for accountability, and also another way for psychedelic preparation and integration I found most effective is coaching. And I'm offering coaching at the moment, so if you're curious about that, check out the link in the description. It's also really about this sense of accountability, setting goals for yourself and then having somebody who's holding you accountable to actually do what you said you're going to do, or if you're not doing it, to learn from why you haven't done it. And that's a powerful way to really sustain those higher states of consciousness and transform them into real transformations in your day-to-day life. So that's basically it. I do have to say, and I want to mention, that breathwork can also be very intense. For myself personally, I don't know if I have a tolerance to oxygen, but it's like, for myself personally, it's not as deep as very deep high-dose psychedelic journeys. Like those do take me to deeper parts of myself and open me up a little bit more and allow me to access deeper parts of this, of the hidden stuff of myself. But for some people, especially maybe those highly sensitive people, it can get also into a very deep process. So it's not just like this sneak peek into the realm and then connecting and it all sounds beautiful. Yes, but it can also kind of set in motion some emotional processes, and it can, right, bring up certain kinds of stuff that has been hidden. So it is kind of real work that is going on, especially if you go into those longer sessions. So if you do not feel comfortable to go into deep psychedelic space, when you're alone, either start very slowly with a little bit of a softer breathing and a little bit of a shorter breathing, like those 5 to 10 minute sessions, and feel how that feels, or have somebody there, join a group, right? And I think it was in this book, Breaking Open, Finding a Way Through Spiritual Emergency, where breathwork was also mentioned, right? In a way of not only integrating a spiritual emergency, but also facilitating and causing even a spiritual emergency. As it's an expanded state of consciousness, it can be quite unsettling as well. And it can be not only beneficial, but also, as I said, set some processes in motion which we might not be willing to look at or deal with. So just those words of caution that might happen, but it also might not happen. For me personally, for example, it helped me through my spiritual crisis. I was in my spiritual crisis through this spiritual emergency. You can watch the videos right here, or also download my free book that I wrote about spiritual emergency. And I was afraid of psychedelic space again, and breathwork helped me to get in touch with myself again, to not look away from my experience and be in this state of fear and distraction, but really to consciously connect in a little bit of a softer way than psychedelics allow me to. Really look at myself, look at my state of being, and gently breathe myself into those deeper realms again. And I guess it's just holistically wonderful. That's what a breathwork facilitator today said. It's like it's good for the body, good for the mind, good for the spirit, good for the emotions, and I think he mentioned the energetic body as well, right? Good for all of these levels and all of these kind of realms of our humanness. Even though I do have to mention that at times, most of the times actually, I don't know if that's because I'm sick continuously, I do feel a little bit exhausted after a session. Right after a session, maybe I have these vibrations and I feel energized, right? But a couple hours after, I come down and I feel quite exhausted, as I do right now. If you want to read a little bit more about breathwork and what it can do, and if you want to have some information, I think it was mentioned in The Way of the Psychonaut. I don't know if it was mentioned in Volume 1 or Volume 2, but it definitely was mentioned, and you should read those books either way because they have been fantastic, by Stanislav Grof, and cover a lot of basic stuff that's helpful for every psychonaut. And I think he also wrote a book just about the holotropic breathwork. As I said, for myself, holotropic breathwork is kind of not as easy to access here in my area, and if I might be able to access it, those 3.5 hour sessions, they are quite expensive. So I do go with the conscious connected breathwork, but this consistency of consistently checking in, having a practice, having your daily meditation, your daily yoga, your daily whatever else is beneficial for you, being in nature, right? To connect with yourself, but then have these intermediate sessions of a little bit of an expanded state of consciousness to look what's present, to be able to prepare for or integrate your psychedelic experiences. I found is a great way to continuously kind of do this transformative work and get in touch with yourself. So let me know in the comment section down below. What are your experiences with breathwork? Have you experienced it? Are you having very intense, insane, visionary experiences with it? Are you just doing it very briefly, shortly? Have you done it and are not continuously doing it? I would love to know. Let's get the discussion going. For myself, I do need to talk about it more here, as it's one of the few practices that I have implemented and integrated into my life, and I'm doing or try to do quite frequently. Like once a week would be ideal, but once a month is also like a good pace to keep it going and to just keep the preparation and the integration going and keep looking at what is present for myself in this situation, in this breath, right? In this body that we're living in. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.